In this podcast episode, Ben Shapiro engages in a wide-ranging discussion that touches on various pressing issues, including the economy, political corruption, and the role of media in shaping public perception. Shapiro begins by addressing the innate human tendency to shirk responsibility, particularly in the context of economic failure. He argues that in a free society like the United States, most failures can be traced back to individual decisions rather than systemic issues. The hallmark of economically successful individuals, according to Shapiro, is their ability to reflect on their failures and learn from them. He emphasizes that the narrative surrounding wealth inequality often misrepresents the reality of economic growth, suggesting that the wealthy do not accumulate wealth at the expense of the poor. Instead, he posits that financial literacy and personal accountability are crucial for economic advancement. This perspective challenges the prevailing notion that wealth inequality is primarily a result of exploitation. Shapiro contends that the focus should be on individual decision-making and the choices people make regarding their finances. He highlights the importance of financial literacy, noting that many Americans lack a basic understanding of investment principles, which can hinder their economic mobility. By encouraging individuals to take responsibility for their financial decisions, Shapiro believes that society can foster a culture of success and innovation. Shapiro further elaborates on the significance of innovation and entrepreneurship in driving economic growth. He argues that the true engine of progress lies not in wage increases, but in the creative and entrepreneurial spirit that has characterized American society. He points out that many successful entrepreneurs come from humble beginnings, underscoring the idea that hard work and innovation can lead to significant economic achievements. In discussing the current political landscape, Shapiro expresses concern over the lack of understanding among politicians regarding the importance of financial literacy and investment. He cites the example of Tim Walz, the Democratic vice presidential candidate, who admits to having no knowledge of venture capitalism or investment strategies. Shapiro argues that such ignorance among political leaders can have detrimental effects on economic policy and innovation, ultimately stifling growth and opportunity. The conversation shifts to the political landscape, particularly focusing on Kamala Harris and her campaign strategies. Shapiro acknowledges that while Harris has not run a racially charged campaign, her policies and statements often lack clarity and conviction. He expresses skepticism about her ability to connect with voters and effectively address pressing issues. Shapiro also discusses the broader implications of Harris's candidacy, suggesting that her rise within the Democratic Party reflects a larger trend of political maneuvering driven by party elites. He points out that the Democratic machine has historically worked to consolidate power and eliminate challengers, as seen in the 2020 primaries. This observation raises questions about the authenticity of political campaigns and the extent to which candidates genuinely represent the interests of their constituents. Delving deeper into the dynamics of the Democratic Party, Shapiro highlights the role of the media in shaping public perception and influencing political outcomes. He argues that the media often acts as an extension of the democratic machine, promoting narratives that align with party interests while suppressing dissenting voices. Shapiro's critique of the media extends to its handling of political figures like Joe Biden. He notes that the media's reluctance to address Biden's cognitive decline and overall fitness for office reflects a broader unwillingness to hold political leaders accountable. This lack of scrutiny, according to Shapiro, contributes to a culture of complacency and reinforces the notion that the media is more interested in protecting certain narratives than in providing objective reporting. The discussion then turns to the ongoing drug crisis in America, with Shapiro emphasizing the devastating impact of fentanyl on communities across the country. He highlights the alarming statistics surrounding fentanyl overdoses, noting that the number of deaths has reached staggering levels. Shapiro argues that the government's response to the drug crisis has been inadequate, pointing to the need for a more comprehensive approach to addressing addiction and its root causes. He expresses concern that the current political climate often overlooks the complexities of the drug crisis, focusing instead on punitive measures that fail to address the underlying issues. Shapiro also addresses concerns regarding the state of the U.S. military, highlighting issues related to recruitment, procurement, and technological innovation. He expresses alarm over the military's inability to adapt to modern warfare and the challenges posed by emerging technologies. In discussing the military's future, Shapiro emphasizes the importance of investing in innovation and ensuring that the armed forces remain at the forefront of technological advancements. He argues that a failure to prioritize innovation could have dire consequences for national security, particularly in an increasingly competitive global landscape. The role of social media in shaping public discourse is another significant topic of discussion. Shapiro notes that social media platforms often amplify extreme viewpoints, leading to a polarized political landscape. He expresses concern that the anonymity of online interactions can foster hostility and discourage meaningful dialogue. Shapiro also highlights the importance of engaging in face-to-face conversations to bridge divides and foster understanding. He encourages listeners to seek out opportunities for dialogue with those who hold differing opinions, emphasizing that personal interactions can help counteract the negativity often found online. As the conversation draws to a close, Shapiro shares his thoughts on the future of the U.S. economy. He expresses concerns about stagnation and the potential for economic decline if current trends continue. Shapiro highlights the need for proactive measures to address challenges such as overregulation and rising debt levels. He argues that without significant reforms, the economy may struggle to achieve sustainable growth. By advocating for a more dynamic economic framework, Shapiro hopes to inspire individuals and policymakers to prioritize long-term solutions that benefit society as a whole. The discussion also touches on the role of government in addressing societal issues. Shapiro argues that the federal government was not designed to be a proactive force in people's lives, emphasizing the importance of local governance and community engagement. He expresses skepticism about the effectiveness of large-scale government programs, suggesting that solutions should be tailored to the specific needs of communities rather than imposed from above. Shapiro's perspective on the role of government reflects a broader belief in the importance of individual agency and local decision-making. By advocating for a more decentralized approach to governance, Shapiro hopes to empower communities to take charge of their own destinies and address challenges in ways that resonate with their unique circumstances.